and welcome back. We have with us the Member of Parliament for Chaguanas West, Mr. Jack Austin Warner. Mr. Warner, we were talking about, and I know that you are in the position, having sat in the cabinet for the last 3 years, to explain to us, perhaps, if for those of us in the population who don't understand, you told us that history occurred in Chaguanas West, with you winning 69% of the votes in a true heartland constituency. And you said that was because there were party groups and the party, the UNC party, didn't listen to the party groups. Surely that cannot be the same reason that the People's Partnership got trounced in the Tobago elections, 12-0, lost St. Joseph constituency to the PNM, which I thought was painful, and lost 6 corporations, went from 11 to 5. Surely that can't be the same reason as you have given for Chaguanas West. What's going wrong, Mr. Warner? Because I think things can be changed again if we go to the Constitution. There must be a reason these things are happening.
Well, I'll tell you. The late Lloyd Best told us at university when we were there many, many years ago that in Trinidad and Tobago, this country, he says, you have 3 kinds of people, he said. He said you have Africans, in the main, Africans, Indians, and Tobagonians. In other words, he was saying that the people in Tobago are totally different, right, altogether. And Kamala didn't realize this.
Well, let's put Kamala aside. Clearly, something went wrong because the TOP themselves created history by winning the two seats from the PNM.
Yes.
The TOP then went back
because
and they won nothing.
And the main thing for that was the house that Jack built from Peppers and Oko
corruption,
and Bodie. Tobagoans couldn't take this insult.
They're very different people.
See,
they're very different people.
You can't tell Tobagoans you build a massive multi-million-dollar house by selling Bodie, pumpkin, and okra.
And so you think Tobago in particular was perhaps because
that was offensive.
Of that. Okay.
And then Kamala going there to campaign and to take the campaign over lock, stock, and barrel.
Maybe people became a little bit unhappy with that. Mr. Warner, we have another call. Good evening, caller. Good evening, caller. Next call, please. Sorry, we lost you, caller. Please try again. Good evening.
Good evening, and good evening to your host, Mr. Warner.
Good evening.
Right. Mr. Warner, I supported you when you went up and when you get 102,000 for a few areas that you fought. But as a member of parliament, as a backbencher, right? How do you get across? Do you have to wait for the speaker eye or wait for a private member to put over your point?
Thank you, caller. That is a fantastic question. I really like that question.
I have to wait for the speaker's eyes, and sometimes the speaker either don't catch my eye, or he, of course, is spoken to beforehand, I assume, and get the eyes of others. It has happened once or twice. But I have to wait for the speaker's eyes. But most times also, I have to speak to Marlene MacDonald, who is in the opposition bench. She's the how you call it again? The leader of the opposition bench, and the chief whip, as they call it. And I will tell her, Marlene, I would like to speak on this bill. Can I be allowed to speak before your X or Y? And she'll say, okay, Mr. Warner, we shall allow it. And most times the PM accommodate me. In fact, Friday, at the private members' day, I'll be the first speaker at 2:15 because I've spoken to the PM and they've agreed that I shall speak first on Friday.
Caller, that was a very, very interesting question because one of the aspects of the Constitution, the office of the Speaker,
yes,
we are going to be looking at.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's very difficult to get. I contacted the Deputy Speaker, and she declined to come because she said because of politics and political reasons, she would not be able to come. And this is a very this is a show on constitutional reform and to get people to give their points of view. But we have a duty to do, and we will perform it. We have another call. Good evening, caller.
No, this is a recording.
Sorry, caller, we lost you. Please try again. Do we have another caller? Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Good evening, dear.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I would like to find out before you went to the break.
Yes.
A lady asked Mr. Warner a question. Could you answer it, please?
What was that?
Sorry, dear.
What was the question? What was the question?
I'm not sure what the question was. Could you remind us? Could you remind us, please, dear?
About the screening in 2010.
The screening in 2010. Yes, he answered that question there. He answered that question. I'm going to make them repeat this program just so you can hear the answer. We have another caller. Thank you, caller, for your call. Anyway, good evening, caller. Good evening.
Hi, good evening to the panel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Warner,
Good evening.
could you tell the viewing audience how Neela Khan ended up as the candidate for Princestown?
How?
How Neela Khan ended up for the candidate. I think, with all due respect, and I'm so appreciative that you've called, Mr. Warner, I think we need to get the Prime Minister and perhaps the political leader of the UNC on our show, and perhaps she would be in a better position to answer that.
I thank you so much.
And I will do that. One more call, please. Good evening, caller. Good evening, dear.
Hello.
Hello.
A pleasant good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I am watching my Prime Minister to be.
Which one?
Mr. Warner.
Good question.
Which one? Good evening, dear. How can we help you? What can we answer?
Mr. Warner?
Yes?
Mr. Warner?
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
That's your friend from South. Be strong. Hello?
Yes?
Yes, dear, we are listening to you.
Two people on the line.
Be strong.
Keep the faith. I love you.
Okay. Love you too.
I love you, Warner.
I love you too.
Be strong.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
you.
We don't have any more calls just yet, Mr. Warner, and I know time is always of the essence. So let me ask you a question that is going to be on everyone's mind, especially...
But I didn't answer one. I didn't answer St. Joseph just now.
Oh, you didn't answer. Yes, please. I must do. I shouldn't interrupt.
The government lost in St. Joseph.
Yes. Because
of the ILP.
Right. And that's where I wanted to go to. I'm glad you said that, because you are going to have, because of under our current electoral system, it really is a two-party system. What would you say, Mr. Warner, to those who will say, and they inevitably will if they haven't said it already, that the ILP is only interested in splitting UNC votes, and your party is motivated by revenge and sour grapes? What would you say to those people?
I have heard that said, and they talk about UNC votes, and I keep making the point again and again. There are no UNC votes. There are no PNM votes. There are votes outside there. And the ILP is going to make a serious effort to get as many of those votes as possible based on the ILP's vision and program, based on its new leadership, based on the fact that the ILP will be to this country what the other parties have failed to be.
Was that your thinking behind the formation of the ILP?
No, yes. When it was formed to fight Chaguanas West. But it has evolved into what it is now. And therefore, it's a serious contender for office. And it's in this context, therefore, we don't talk about splitting votes. In fact, we are not concerned that the other parties may take votes from us. Right?
They may split your votes. They may split your votes. But the ILP, you must admit. Okay, well, let's go somewhere else. Does the ILP appeal to PNM voters? Is that what you're saying?
In some cases, yes.
In some cases, yes.
Especially in the corridor. In
so
fact,
you
we have
can
a
be
program.
a sort of thorn in both the UNC
And we are.
and the PNM's
And we
side.
are at this point. And of course, they don't, and the government has instructed all its ministers not to advertise in the Sunshine newspaper. But do you know what?
I am at odds
Yes.
in my mind to think this whole concept about advertising.
Okay.
What if someone without any money, but who had the country at heart, wanted to form a political party that was going to provide true change, and we couldn't afford? Did I say we? That must have been a fraudulent slip. and they couldn't afford to actually all these adverts and things like that. I mean, it really puts a lot of people at a disadvantage.
It does.
It puts us at a disadvantage.
And while this is happening, the government is spending tons of taxpayers' money.
And I do want to come
on
back
ads,
to...
on flu. I mean, you've seen the news between the ads as against the ads between the news.
And I wanted to come back to advertisements again in the context of the Constitution and accountability, yes, just before we leave. We've got to go to a break now. Please join us when we return. Thank you.